what I'm doing here. I'm basically trying out ideas, and then if it doesn't work, then I change it. And I always step back and look at it, and then try out more ideas. And that's a fairly basic design process. I mean, the only thing we're testing for is how it looks, because it's completely like there's no function to this, so there's no other criteria by which to test the product. Which is fine for this. Do I want that? That's kind of interesting. Kind of. Maybe one block right in the middle, and this kind of symbolizes the keystone in an arch. I don't know if you guys, an arch made of stones. I'm making motions with my hands as though you can see it, but you can't. So an arch made of stones or bricks, you have the stones in little wedges and all around in a semicircle, and then the one in the middle is called the keystone. And there's nothing special about it really, and some arches don't even have the keystones are no different from the others, but it's basically the one that locks all the other pieces in place. And so sometimes people will make when they make the arch, they make the keystone a little bit different. I mean, functionally, every piece is important. It's not that the keystone is more important than the rest, but when you build the arch, you kind of put the keystone in last. Anyway. What else? Looks a bit strange, to be honest. This. But, never mind. Do I want it to just be stone like that? Yeah, I guess that's not a problem. That's not a problem. Let's replace those with stone bricks. Alright. If I don't like it, I can always just change it. Now, do I want more cut out of the sides? Or do I want to just leave it like that? Maybe I don't want these things. Maybe I just want this. Yeah, that's... Maybe I even want that. See, I'm just making this up as I go, I have no idea. I mean, this is not what I had in mind in the first place, but it seems to be working out. Alright. And then a torch right in the middle, and in fact put a stone in those corners, and remove those 3, those 5. Stone in the corners, remove 5. Okay, let's try that. It's difficult to try to commentate the design process because I'm just thinking things through in my head, and it's not always easy to keep saying it, because it's not even a, often it's hard to articulate your thoughts. Sometimes when you look at something, whether you like it or not, it's very direct, it's somewhat intuitive. I don't really like that word, but I guess we can say it's sometimes subconscious, how you feel about how something looks. I mean, if you really stop and think about it, then you can say things like, well, maybe it's more symmetrical, more balanced, or the proportions are better, like the height versus the width looks better, and by what criteria you say better? Well, maybe it's more familiar, like the human proportions, or the golden mean, or the square of 2, and things like that. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I mean, golden mean is an interesting one. You just look it up in Wikipedia, but they're geometric proportions that, for one reason or another, appeal to the human mind. Oh, whoops! I missed one. So if you want to stop and analyze it, then you can talk about all these things. But sometimes when you're designing, you just do it. Like, you just follow your gut instinct and just do it. And you don't think about all that stuff consciously. I mean, obviously as a designer, or even not as a designer, as someone who looks at buildings a lot, like, your mind will remember other buildings, and you'll subconsciously remember the proportions and things like that. And when you need them, your brain will remember them. Like, if you've seen enough of it. Like, so even if you're not consciously looking for something, your mind will see it, and it will be familiar to you in some way, and sometimes you can trust that, especially if you've done it often enough, that it becomes almost like a habit or an instinct. Then you can trust that. Obviously, you don't trust. You don't just trust it. Obviously, like, you test it, and then you ask the questions. Is this really actually good, or do I just assume it's good and all that? Okay, I think I'll leave it at that. Keep it simple. I mean, it's very simple, but you can see it's almost the whole hillside anyway. Obviously, we don't want to get into the dirt too much. I already had to remove a bit of dirt and put the stone in to clean it up. So even something that simple, it's taking up that much space because of how, because of the fact that Minecraft is these giant squares. So yeah, even a really simple shape takes up a lot of space in Minecraft. So I don't want to get too much more complicated than that. Is that it? I guess that's it. I guess I can clean up the hillside a little bit, or I can just leave it as it is. Yeah, I'll just leave it for now. What else? Maybe I'll just leave the video here. Like, the frame rate is really bad. I really need to get Optifine straight away. Oh, new terrain. So with the new version 1.2, the terrain generation changed again, and also the height limit just changed. I don't think the terrain actually goes up further than before, but you can build further up than before, and I'm not sure. I mean, if you've played Minecraft and you've tested it out, then maybe you do, but basically the world height is twice as tall now. So the sea level, which is where we're on, is halfway up the old height, so it's 64 here, 128 is there, but the map goes up to 256. So you can see the tower there. Imagine 2 more of those stacked on top, and that's how tall the map is. That's crazy. Like, do you have any? Can you imagine that? I can pillar my way up just for your amusement. But you know, the size of things you can build now is crazy. And I haven't decided on anything yet. I don't have any ideas about what to do yet. But it completely changes what you can build. I might end up building a tower up to the top, but it's gonna be huge. Like, imagine that twice more. Like, I don't know. I guess I have to think about it. But I also need to be careful because it changes the proportions of things a lot. Wow, lag. I mean, now the courtyard is this wide and things are this tall. Like, as I was saying earlier, like, the mind is, especially if you're a designer or if you've studied architecture and design, then you've got certain proportions in your mind. Things look good at certain scales, and sometimes you pick that up as you do more and more designs. You pick up like a habit or an instinct. So all of this has been designed with the assumption that that's the height of the map. And so if suddenly the height is 3 times that, then all of these proportions are, they're disrupted. They're all, everything's changed. So I built that first, and that's as big as it gets, and everything else is a bit shorter than that. I think that almost goes up to that height. So everything has been considered in the context of that being the maximum height. And now that it's not the maximum height, I can't just recklessly build stuff, because it would look strange if I don't think about it carefully. Like, where to place the tower. But I do want to build a tower up to the new height just because it's there and I can do it. It's gonna be a huge project. Anyway. New terrain is not that interesting. Actually, let's just walk to the boundary and I'll show you. Alright, so we're here at the boundary wall. There's the big wall up there, giant arches and everything. Let's get up the ladder a little bit. Wow, lags. Wow, really, really bad lag spikes. I think the game is still loading up the new chunks, or maybe it's even generating new chunks, because I went and deleted some of the old chunks again. I didn't delete it right up to the boundary this time. I left a 2 chunk gap between the old stuff and the newer stuff. So you can see the line there, so that's the really old stuff. I'll add the slightly newer stuff there, and that's the latest 1.2 stuff though. So there's a huge what do you call that? What kind of biome is that? Is that like a snow forest? Like that tundra forest? Anyway, there's a lot of snow and trees over there. So I've left a 2 chunk gap between the old stuff and the new stuff, because I was afraid it would generate like really tall mountains, and I really don't want really tall mountains right up against my wall. But it turns out it didn't anyway, so that was good. There's some really tall trees over there. I'm sure you've seen the screenshots of the new trees, like the jungle biomes and all that. So over to the north, on the other side, and over on that side, it's like jungles. Yeah, so basically I've done that, and it's not, it's actually a proper rectangle, because the boundary itself is not a rectangle. Like, it's got some bits where it comes in and it goes out a little bit, so it's not a clean rectangle. Whereas the chunks I've deleted, I've just made it a clean rectangle like that. And I don't know what to do about the new terrain yet. I've played on new maps a little bit, and it looks kinda good, like the new terrain, I don't know if they actually changed the algorithm that much. I kind of want to start building on a new area now. But I don't want to abandon this neither, so I don't really know what to do. But anyway. Yeah, like every time they come up with a new algorithm, it seems to look better and better. Anyway, there's an Enderman down there. So they do spawn, but just not in my grinder. My EXP grinder. Anyway, I think that's what I have to say for this video. Yeah. I don't know how much Minecraft I can play, guys. Like, it's actually quite time consuming building this stuff, and I enjoy it when I have the time, but when I don't have the time, I don't, I can't actually concentrate on building this stuff and do other stuff as well. It's like playing other games is actually easier than Minecraft. I mean, it sounds weird, like, you're just building blocks, but if you're actually designing like I am, it actually takes quite a lot of concentration and all that to think about all this stuff. So yeah. Anyway, well, if I play more, then I'll make more videos. For the meantime, that's it for now. I'll see you guys whenever I do more.